Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are making this gorgeous kiss lock purse. Now I will explain why they call it a kiss lock. I do explain it in a tutorial as well, but when you open it up it's like that, and when you close it you kiss it locked. That's why they call it a kiss lock purse. Now, this particular, it's actually a coin purse. In the old days, we used to call it coin purse, yeah. This particular pattern or design is so basic. It's just plain old single crochets in the round, yeah. And I'll talk to you about how we're going to do that. A little bit of fluff there. What's going on? And I'll talk to you about how we're going to do that in the tutorial. But in the meantime, just to let everyone know, the way we came up with our color combination today was through our live antics on Saturday mornings. Now, if you're not sure what that is, live antics Saturday morning is when any one of our subscribers joins our live, and we actually place a whole lot of colour combinations usually on the table, and I say, right, choose something that we're going to create this week. You don't know what the pattern is, you just know the colour combination, and you get to choose, as a subscriber, you get to choose that colour combination. And the lovely Karen B, one of our regulars, has chosen the red. In this case, we actually had the kiss lock purse and the yarns on the table. Now, I think I had a pearl and a cotton and a white cotton. Let's try that again. A pearl with a cream cotton and the red with the red cotton. And the lovely Karen chose the red. So thank you, Karen. And you know what? I love it, Karen. I love this colour. You know what? I keep lots of things in my purse bag, like my library card, yes, and my spotlight card, yes, and my Lincraft card, yes, and coins, which they're not in there at the moment, but you can put them in there as well. But in the meantime, guess what? We are going to focus on making it, not what you can fit in it, all right? The cotton I used today was 27 grams, or roughly around 30 grams worth of yarn of an 8-ply cotton, a DK weight or a number 3 overseas. Okay, this cotton did call for a 4mm hook, I think. Hello, where is she? Let's get close up here. There it is. It called for a 4mm hook. I did mention on one of my comments or community board posts I was going to use a 3.5. I did use the 3.5 to begin with, and it came out really distorted, so I used the 4. What happens with cotton is if it's a dense cotton like this and not so much a soft cotton, when you're using a smaller size hook, it waves and it comes out. In fact, this one here came out a tiny little bit wavy as well for a 4mm hook. So stick to the 4mm hook if you're using the Brighton cotton. Now, when I talk about cottons, for coin purses and things, a soft cotton is no good. This is it's soft, but it's relatively dense. It's got a dense thickness about it. I tried using Bendigo Woolen Mills to start off with, which was gorgeously soft and great for gorgeous outfits, but not so much for coin purses. You need something a little stronger, a little tougher. Don't go up to a 10-ply because it will not fit through your clasp. Just remember that, yeah? So stick to an 8-ply. In all honesty, we probably would have been better off using a 4-ply, which is a 2-weight or a number 2 overseas, or a lightweight, or whatever you want to call it, all right? But we use this one. It's not too bad. It did make it. I struggled to sew it all in. I'll show you where. I struggled to get it all in here because it was a lot thicker than the average cotton. So don't worry too much about that. Anyway, that's what we used. So I didn't finish this skein. No, I used a 4mm hook. Yes, I used the scissors. Yes, I used a 1-stitch marker. And I found some sewing cotton, and I don't know why I've popped the red on here. I think it's because I might have taken off one of the sewing bobbins in the sewing machine and just needed the bobbin. So I wound it up. That's what I used to do years ago. When I ran out of bobbins, I used to just attach the old thread from the sewing machine onto that, but it didn't mean anything. It meant that I found some red, so very exciting. Try to find cotton as close to the colour of your coin purse, okay? Now, I used the normal size needle if I can find a little eye there. There it is. To weave in ends, yeah. But to sew in here, I had to use a thinner needle because your needle has to be able to go through the eye or the little hole on your clasp. That's that. I did use my cards here just to see if they fit in our little coin purse, and they did. Also, I did forget to mention the measurements of our piece are from top down to the bottom is roughly around 10 centimeters or, roughly 4 inches. Yeah. Same with the width, roughly 10. It's roughly, it might even be bigger than 10 centimeters a little bit, and roughly 4 inches. But if you wanted to make yours longer, you couldn't make it wider, otherwise it won't fit in here. But if you wanted to make yours longer, when I ask you to go ahead and make your 16 rows of single crochet, you can do a few more, and that might help if you want to make yours longer. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm going to let you head off on your own, creating your gorgeous Kisslock purse, coin purse, colour combination chosen by the lovely Karen B. Thanks, Karen, and good luck all. Alrighty, guys, we're going to start off by making a magic circle or a magic ring or a magic loop. Grabbing your tail end, just leaving it in front of your fingers, grabbing your working end and passing it over your fingers like so, forming a little, X, if you will. Grab your hook, pop it under the front loop, pulling your back loop up. And what you should have is the 1, the 2, and then 3 on this side. Just grabbing everything like so, making sure you're holding on to everything. Chain 1 and make a single crochet in that big looped area, going over both the tail and your work. So hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, now just grabbing your stitch marker and popping it in the stitch. Oops, not even in frame. In the stitch, so it's just the 2 loops on top, like so. Yes, you might want to grab your tail and just give it a little bit of a close. You don't have to pull it too hard because we want to make at least another 8 single crochets in here. So you've done 1, now we're going to do 8 more. Hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Is that too close now, guys? All right, let's go straight into the second one again. I'm sorry, let's try third. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if you're not sure that you've got 9, count them. How you count them is you are counting these little V's that you see here. Each V is 1 stitch. That's a 1 and that's a 1. Right, so make sure your stitch marker counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I'll get a close up here. Sorry about that. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm sorry, I'm out of frame there. But make sure you've got 9, okay? Now, grabbing your tail end before you slip stitch, you grab that tail end and you just pull it real tight, and it actually closes up your center, making sure it's nice and tight. All right, then you just slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. Now, my stitch is extremely tight. Oh, it's even pulling the stitch marker out a bit. So just pop your hook in there, taking out your stitch marker if it helps, and just slip stitching, which means pulling a loop through your stitch and through to the loop on your hook, like so. Chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch that you are in, like so. Very tight for me. And there you go. Now grab your stitch marker, popping your stitch marker through that stitch, 2 top loops there, like so. In the same stitch, you are going to pop a second single crochet. Mine's really tight. Hopefully yours isn't as tight as this. Dearie me, look at that. It's so tight. All right, and that's your second one. And in each stitch, you're going to put 2 single crochets, and your stitches are, let's grab the little needle to show you. Once again, they are these 2 loops on top. So you'll go and put 2 in there, and you'll put 2 in the next, and so on. All right, just doing this for all of our newbies who have joined. Welcome, by the way. Don't forget to subscribe. Okay, we are popping another 2 single crochets into your next stitch, 1 and 2. Since you know where to put your work, I'll just bring that down again, and 2 into the next, 1 and 2, making sure not to miss any stitches. 2 into your next, 1 and 2. If you do 2 into every stitch in the round, by the end of the round you should have 18 stitches, all right, because we started off with 9 and we're doubling our work. 2 into there, like so. Almost there. It's the 3rd last stitch for me. No, that was the 4th last, I think. I don't know, we're getting closer. That's all I know. 2 into the next. Oh, that's the 2nd last stitch. Let's get it closer. See, it's bad when we move it away. I can't see either. Okay, 2 into the last stitch. Oh, she's all over the place. 2 into that very last stitch. All right, now count your little V's. 1, let's do it right. Oh, don't make them make a mistake. Your first V that you're counting is the one with the stitch marker in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and that's your 18th stitch there. Yes, and now you're going to slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker in. It might pay to take the stitch marker out whilst you're doing that. Yeah. Pull the loop through. Pull it through the loop on your hook. Chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch once again. Popping your stitch marker in there like so. Now I think I'm swapping between stitch markers here, but anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, in the same stitch, this round is going to change, but in the same stitch you are still putting a single crochet in the same stitch. In this round, you're doing 2 single crochets in one in the next, 2 in the next, 1 in the next, 2 in the next, 1 in the next. So it's just 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way through. We've done 2, jump into the next one with 1, the next one with 2, and your next one has 1, and your next one has 2, and so on. It's a very basic round, so 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And I'm on my second last stitch, so let me bring that up. And there's one left, all right? And in that one there, that's probably too close now. In that one there, I just need to put 1 single crochet. All right, once again, if you played your cards right and your math is correct, you should have 18 plus another 9 makes that 27 stitches in the round. So go ahead and count your stitches. I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do that, but go ahead and make sure you've counted your stitches and you've got 27 in the round. Slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker, and you're going to start to see a pattern here now. Pull the loop through the stitch and through to the loop on your hook. Now the pattern is exactly the same. You're going to do 2 into the first, and then you're going to go 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Before we did 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Now we're doing 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. All right. So first stitch is chain 1 firstly, single crochet in the same stitch, like so. Is that way too close, guys? Yeah. Okay. Single crochet in the same stitch, making sure when you do your single crochet in the next stitch that you do not miss that first stitch. And I used to do that when I was making beanies. I used to always miss the first stitch and jump into the second one, and then I was short. So make sure you don't miss that one. So 1 in the first one, and 1 in your second one, and then 2 into your third. So 1 and 2 in that stitch there. All right. So 1 into the first, 1 into the second, 2 into the third, 1 and 2, 1 into the first, 1 into the second, 2 into your third. All right. I don't think I need to show you any more in this round, and that's what you need to do. 1, 1, 1. I'm sorry. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, all the way around. When you get to the end, you should have 2 single crochets left. Get there and I'll meet you there once we're done. Alrighty, so here we are at the end of this round. I still need to do my last 2 single crochets, 1 into my first, 1 into my second, and if I played my cards correct, I should have 2 single crochets for the next, which is there. You should also have 36 single crochets in the round. All right, now you're going to slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. Mine is very tight. Okay, so just pull the loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook, chain 1 and single crochet once again in the same stitch. And you know what you're going to do again? Yes, it is a pattern. You're going to pop your second single crochet in the same stitch, like so. Then you're going to do 3 single crochets across, and then 2, 3 across, 2. So you go 1, 2, 3, and then 2 single crochets in the next, 1 and 2. Again, 1, 2, 3, 2 single crochets into your very next stitch. So it's super duper easy. It is a repeat round. Once again, you are doing 3 single crochets across, 2 into your fourth, 3 across, 2 into the fourth, 3 across, 2 into the fourth, all the way around, and until you get to your very last 3 single crochets, and I shall meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round, and you should have 3 stitches left. Alright, so we have your 1, 2 and 3, and you are slip stitching into the stitch, the tight stitch, the very, very tight stitch. I'm wondering whether I might have actually split my yarn. So let's take out my stitch marker, and there we go. Oh, I must have just split the yarn. Anyway, it was quite easy then. Just talk amongst yourselves, guys. Chain 1. So let's pop a single crochet in the same stitch. Stitch marker. I didn't do this one so tight this time. Do you love it? All right, single crochet in the same stitch. And before we did 3 across, didn't we? Now we're going to do 4. All right, don't forget this tight stitch in the corner here. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in your next one, 2 single crochets. 1, and 2 and 4 across. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 2 into your next. 1 and 2. 4 across. All right, so your job now, guys, is to do just that. 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2 all the way across. When you get to your very last 4 single crochets, wait for me there and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, we're at the end of this round and you should have 4 single crochets left. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now what you should have in this round here is 54 stitches. Now before we slip stitch to join, we're going to grab our little kiss lock purse thing, and I really think that that is plenty, but the idea is that it's got to actually meet to the ends. Really, it has to kind of meet right in there and there. So I'm going to leave it at this round. If you feel uncomfortable and you think yours is like this, then you may need to do another round, but I think that will be all right. In fact, I think that'll be perfect. All right, so in the meantime, you should have 54 stitches in this round. Yes. Now what you want to do is slip stitch to join, like so. Oops, like so. All right, chain 1, single crochet into your first stitch. Then you're going to pop a stitch marker in there like so. All right. In this round, you're not going to increase. All you're doing is single crocheting in every stitch in the round. Super duper easy, and off we go. I don't think you need to watch me doing this. So what I would like for you to do is head off on your own, do your single crochet in every stitch in the round, and once you get to this very last stitch, I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, oh that's too far away. Here we are at the end of the round. Now normally what we would do here is we would slip stitch to join and then single crochet, but I would like to work in the rounds here. So what I'm going to do is take out that stitch marker, and all I want you to do here is to single crochet into that stitch right there, the one that was with the stitch marker, and then pop the stitch marker back in there. You will no longer be slip stitching in the rounds. All you will be doing is single crocheting in every stitch. Now I did mention that this was going to be a very easy pattern. The most difficult part of the pattern part you've done. The rest is easy. It's just single crochets in the rounds until you reach a certain length. The extra difficult part is just sewing it onto that little clasp, which we're going to do nice and slowly for you so you can check that out. So now your job, guys, is to do a round of single crochets all the way around, get to this very last stitch here and meet me there, and I'll talk about what we're going to do next once we get to that stitch marker. So maybe a couple of stitches before your stitch marker, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round. So now that you have this section kind of sorted out, you know that you go into your next single crochet like normal, and instead of slip stitching, you are just going to go into the next single crochet, do your single crochet, pop your stitch marker. Alright, that will all even out at the end when we attach it to the clasp. So you don't need to slip stitch anymore. You just need to single crochet in every 2.5 million rounds. Grab yourself a little bowl of snackies and lollies and whatever else have you, because you're going to be sitting here doing a lot of rounds. Because what's going to happen now is it's going to start building a little wall. You can't see it yet, but it's going to start turning up like that. Well, it is a little bit, right? But now, as you keep going in the round and round and round and round, it's going to start building some walls, all right? And when we get to a certain length, we will attach it to our frame. Now, the question you need to ask yourself is, how long do I want mine? All right, so I'm going to tell you how many rounds, I was about to say rows and rounds, how many rounds I did, and then you can head off on your own and do your rounds. That doesn't mean it'll be the length that you need, okay? You might get to the end of those rounds and think, oh gosh, it's not that big, I'm going to do 2 more rounds. Or, oh gosh, it's way too big, I'm going to take 2 rounds off. Entirely up to you. But I will give you the rounds that I'm going to do, and then you can decide whether or not you're going to do that many rounds as well. All right, so that is it. You just keep going in the round over and over and over and over again for another 16 more rounds. Do the rounds that you need now, and I will meet you back here, and we will then start attaching to our clasp. All right, go ahead and do your rounds, and I'll meet you back here once we're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end. I've done my 16 rows. How gorgeous does it look? Don't you love it? Look at that. Now, silly me forgot to mention that it would have benefited to weave in that end a little sooner. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I ended up with, and you don't know this because I haven't told you, I'll see there's a few weaving ins here. I ended up with 3 different knots in this tiny little skein. It's just unlucky really, because I've had these skeins before and I've not had any knots, but I ended up with 3 different knots, so I was forever weaving in ends. All right, so don't stress, let's go ahead and start weaving in some ends. All right, so let's just grab the end. Oh, this one's a little bit fray. May have to give it a cut. Yeah, if they fray a little bit too much, guys, you need to cut them, otherwise you're never going to get them through the eye. The eye of the needle right there. All right, now let's hope I don't do what I usually do when I'm recording this. I usually end up pinning myself with this, so hopefully I don't. Give your thread a little bit of a tug. Now, if you've already weaved in your end, more power to you, but in the meantime, yours truly is going to weave this in. Now, if you didn't weave it in and you just cut it, oh dear, it could come undone. Just heads up, yeah? So all you need to do is just, now I find cotton hard to weave in, and usually I just go through a whole lot of it, but because I'm struggling with weaving in of this cotton, I'm just going to go through a few little strands first and just do 1 or 2 strands. And what I'm doing is just, let's do that right there, is literally just splitting some yarn. I'm not exactly weaving it through the whole stitch, I'm just splitting some yarn. And what that does is it tends to, because it's so tight in there, your thread is probably not going to come undone. Now, I don't do this with all my gear, but with something as tight as cotton, these little tight projects, I do that, because otherwise it's not going to go through. So once you've gone through a few times, go back into the opposite direction. She's not awake today, guys. Opposite direction. Like, see how hard that is to come through. Like so. She's fighting it. She's fighting it. Oh dear. Really is tight. The bonus about it being so tight is it's not coming undone. Not anytime too soon. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Otherwise, I'm going to pin myself. See it happening. At least once in every 2nd or 3rd tutorial, I tend to pin myself. And we are talking serious blood here. Serious blood. You like that serious blood? There you go. All right. So this is the part where we decide what we're going to do with this little end here. Now, if you played your cards right, you would have your work right to there. You should still have 54 stitches. It doesn't matter if you don't. There's a way you can just keep going without 54 stitches. All right. So what you're going to do in that stitch, instead of single crochet, you're just going to slip stitch in that stitch. That's all. All right, so you put your hook in, pull a loop through, and pull it through to the loop you are in. Pull up a loop, give your piece a cut, like so. pull your little thread through, tighten it up, and guess what? You're going to weave that one in as well. All right, and the bonus is that one has a little tiny knot, so you'll know where you can place that one, usually around the sides. All right. Oh, it's a little awkward to show you this one. All right. She's turned it around 3 times. I'm just going to actually pop my thread back into the smaller part. It's like a little tiny bit of that stitch. Hard to see the red, isn't it, here? Just down that stitch there. And then just pull it through gently. Okay. You might see a little tiny knot, but don't stress, that won't be noticed. It will be tucked inside your little piece. I'm just going to, once again, split some yarn and then go down again. But I'm going to go down into the piece now. All right, so find a little spot somewhere. I really don't think you need any more than that because it's going to be tucked inside your purse. Give it a cut. And I think I didn't cut that too close. Other than that, I'll just give it a tug and it's gone. All right, so there you are. Now, if you're really wanting to be pedantic, you know where the knot is. You're going to put the knot in an area where there's a center. That way it's not noticed. So your clasp will be kind of like that. Yes? So this is the right side of your work. This is your kiss lock clasp. Now, the way it works is, it's called a kiss lock because when you lock it, it kisses there. Like, kiss lock. That's what I meant. That's why it's called a kiss lock. So you open it like that, pop it on top, and I'll show you how to work on that in a minute. But before I do, make sure you thread a tiny, tiny little needle. All right, and now the amount that you will need, whoops, there you go. I did about 50 centimeters or roughly around, I don't know, 20 inches. It doesn't have to be exact. It's just got to be enough to get around your piece with some really thin cotton. Now your needle has to be able to go through each one of these little holes right there. It has to go through these holes. It has to be able to go through the holes, yeah? Now don't knot your cotton because we are going to weave it in later, because your cotton is a lot thinner than the 4-ply cotton that we worked with here. If you knot it, the knot's just going to come through anyways, so it's a lot easier to just keep weaving in the end as we go. So what I want you to do is grab your clasp and pop it on there like that, or your, kiss lock. Pop it there. The idea really, and this is where we should have used probably a 4-ply cotton to create our bag part, is to actually tuck your piece into the section where all the holes are. It's not going to work, is it? Now, if yours is a little bit full like that, you may be sewing through 2 holes and one hole over there, which I don't think. I think it'll be all right. Now, if you've got some sort of letter opener or something that you can just tuck it in, then that would be good. If not, you kind of have to work holding it real tight like that. I'm holding it really tight with my hand. Okay, and then I'll turn it around. In fact, what I'll do is I'll start working from the side here. I'd rather work from where I've got my knot. That way it's all done and I don't have to worry about it. All right, so grabbing your sewing needle, okay, and the idea is to work from the front, and you see how I've got a whole lot of, I'll show you close up. See how I've got a whole lot of gaps there? That means I haven't pushed it in enough. You've got to be able to see your your cotton through there. All right, so just keep trying to push it in, grabbing your needle, starting from your first hole, and you're popping it through. Check it, because you may not have it in the hole like that. That's actually not in the hole. Well, it kind of is, but it's split the yarn a little bit. So check it if you like, and just pull it through. All right, now leaving some tail here to weave in later. You're going to weave that in. In the meantime, that's what we need to do. If it helps you to look at it while you're doing it, If I can find the hole somewhere. Okay, I might just pop my thumb right there. And then that will show me right there where I'm going through. Okay, pop your thumb on one side and your finger on the other, and don't pull that cotton too tight because it's going to come undone and we don't want it to come undone. All right, so this, I'm not going to sit here and let you watch me do this because I'm struggling here and I can't really see it through the camera either, which is worse. So what I'm going to do, oh, there's the next one, is head off and do mine off air. And I'm going to get you to do yours off air, well, you know, on your own. And I will meet you back here once you get to the opposite side right there. So we're here at the moment. You've got to get all the way around to here. And I'll meet you there once you're done. In the meantime, I'll just keep going. Alrighty guys, I've gotten to the other side and I noticed as I went along, it kind of started to settle in. Yeah. Now let me show you exactly where I am so you know. I did the very last stitch there. But if you look on the other side, you'll notice that only some of the holes are filled in. The other ones, we went the other way and came through. Now we're going to go back the other side, filling up the holes that we didn't fill up. Without nodding yourself. I think I nodded myself twice here today. All right, so all I'm doing, I'm in this final hole here, the little final one, I'm right there, and I've gone through. I don't know where you are at the moment. I'm assuming you're at the same space. What you want to do is go into the, might pay to put your fingers there and you'll find it, back into the second hole. Yeah, that side. And then you're going back in the opposite direction. All right, now this is filling up the other side. And what that's doing is it's tightening it up for you and giving a little bit more strength. So wherever there's not a hole, or not a thread across, that's what you're doing. You're going into the section where there's no thread. I'm hoping this is making sense. Let's get a close up and I'll show you and you'll know what I mean. Right, I am in this space here. I want to go into there, but I've just realized I'm going now. I don't think I'm going into any thread. I want to make sure I'm in thread before I put my needle through. We want to make sure that is tight. We don't want that coming undone, especially the corners, yeah? Oh, I think I've gone through two gaps there. It's all right, I'll go through the other way. Don't mind me. I've just gone 2 steps forward, 1 step back, that kind of thing. Yep. And then we're going into the next space. It's to cover that space there. I'm hoping that's making sense. So now what you're seeing here, and I'll show you a close-up. I'm not even in frame, am I? What you're seeing is this, all the lines through, whereas instead of having your little spaces there, these spaces are sewn over as well. All right, so there we go. We're in there, yeah? Pull that through. And now we're going to close up this space here by going into the very next stitch. All right, so I'm going to pop this, I think I might pop it on fast for you. We're nearly there. nearly there. And this is it, last one. Now with the last one, I want to make sure I get into the material because it's kind of loose and it's got that knot there as well. I'm right in there. I'm going to go back in because I want to tighten it up into a different area and there. Now from memory, our thread is here. Yeah, I'm going to pop this into there. Right, like so. All right, so from here, I'm going to weave in this end, just anywhere. Oh, we'll have to go downwards, I think, because it's going to be a little bit difficult to go. Making sure you're only going through a little bit of cotton, and not a lot. You don't want, you know, the back of your work to be showing. It won't show because this cotton is really thin. He's overdoing it, they're saying, but that's all right. Safe than sorry, that kind of thing. It would have paid for that end to have come through, and then we tie it up and then we weave it through. We tie them both together and then weave them through. If you haven't started sewing yours yet, just get a sewing needle, bring that through this side, tie the two pieces together and then start weaving them in, and they won't come undone. I'm just being a little cautious, that's all, and just weaving more in. But I think I've done how many times? 5, 6, I can't even remember. We're going to cut that. Right. I'm going to weave this off air, so just give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm going to thread it off air and give me 1 second. Okay, so I think it's better for us to actually pop the needle from the inside of our work rather than the outside. That way our tail will end up on the inside, it'll be easier later. So you may need to make sure, don't pull this really tight or this isn't going to stay open properly. So you may need to give yourself a little bit of leeway, a little bit of space there. So grab a piece right there, a little stitch there, pop it, oh, can you see? Let's try that again. So you're grabbing a little stitch on one side and the whole of your piece, the clasp on the other side. And just check it to make sure. Now this time we're going to leave our tail a little bit longer. I struggled to weave that in before. All right, just make sure this can open and close. Yeah, it looks like it can. It might even be a little bit too loose. We don't want it too loose. We don't want it too tight. So straight into your very next hole there and into your stitch. And she's not even in frame, but there you go. Again, making sure you've got a long tail here, leaving enough space for you to work with. Might pay to look at it this way. There you go. Did that go through that? Yes, it did. All right, and that's it. Now, take your time with this. Remember, we haven't knotted this, so we want to make sure everything works well. And I'm not going to show you again because it's going to take me forever. When you get to the corners, make sure you've tucked those corners right in before you start pinning. And make sure you've gone through the stitch completely there. And again, it may not actually work out that you're in a whole stitch, and you may end up having to go on the side of a stitch. You may end up having to do through 2 stitches and just reinforcing those corners. So just being careful with the corners and make sure they're reinforced. So at this stage, what I want you to do is to start this side and get to this side right here. And I'll meet you back here when you get to this side and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of this side. Now I found this side extremely awkward because I had to try and fit it all in, like it had to be all fit in, yeah? So I got to this side, mine's a little loose, but I'm going to tighten that up now as we go along. And so what are we going to do? We're going to go back in the opposite direction again. Like we did with the opposite side, we're going to do the same. Except this time, make sure I get right into that thread. This time, it's going to be a lot easier because we left our thread on the inside of our work this time. All right, so there you go. I don't think I need to show you this part either. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Make sure I get straight into that. Because I think I've missed one. Doesn't matter. I'll go back. Did this keep happening to you where it got caught around the little kiss lock thing up the top there? So I've missed sections. So I'm going to go back in the other section and just redo it. It doesn't matter to have extra thread as long as you don't have, there's no big gaps in between like that one there's got a gap. You want to fill up all the gaps because that's the way it's supposed to go. There you go. In there. Oh, it's not even in frame. Why is it every time I do sewing, it's never in frame? Okay. The crocheting is all right. Look, see? Mine kept getting caught up in here. Oh my gosh. And there you go. All right. So making sure you are filling up all the gaps. You need all the gaps. And I missed a gap. Right there. I'm telling you to fill them up. I don't even fill them up myself. All right. So I just need to go over it a few more times. To get all the gaps filled up, as you do. I think I know why I come out of frame when I do this, because I try to look at it on the outside of the camera lens. Here we go. Now we're under control. Let's get rid of that thread there. All right. There he is. We're up to date now. She's all over the place, guys. Make sure that you're not just going into the hole, that you're going into your piece on the inside. All right, I'm going to head off on my own, get to the end of this section right here, and I'll meet you when you get down to here, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the side, and as you can see, this is the thread I'm working with, and the other piece that we had was here. Alright, this one's a little awkward now because we've sewn our whole piece, yeah? So it's looking gorgeous, but anyway. So what we want to do here, I've gone through all of my holes, I've gone all the way back. So what I'm going to do, this is what we should have done before, yeah? We should have literally just tied this up first in a little knot and then weaved it in. It would have been a lot easier, and it's definite it won't come undone. It shouldn't come undone if you weaved it in very well, but a lot of people think it's easier not to weave in too much, but I am a real stickler at weaving in ends, so I am going to literally go all the way down my little piece here. I'm not even in frame. Hello Mary. When it comes to sewing in, I have to look away from the camera lens. I can't, oops, that's what happens when I don't. I can't look through the camera to weave in ends. It's weaved in plenty, so I'm going to, plus we've already knotted it, yeah? So I'm going to cut that, and almost cut my nail then. I felt it go through the nail. And I'm going to weave this off air. Give me 1 second. All right, so that's it. All right, now it was a little awkward to do. I have to admit, it was a little awkward, but there you go. There is your kiss lock purse. And see how all of this is not visible. See how you've all your threads, your thread has gone through all the spaces. By going one way and then going back the other, we have filled in all of the spaces. All right, now here's the test. You ready? Open up your little kiss lock purse. This is in order of favoritism. Grab your library card, pop it in there. Trying to get all the cards, trying to pick them all up. Grab your spotlight card and pop it in there. And grab your Lincraft card. Oh, would you look at that? There's my car keys. Will it fit? I don't know if the car keys will fit. Oh, they do. Let's pop in some house keys. How much can we get in? I think that's it. I don't think we can get any more. Look at it fit. Here we go. Ta-da! And don't forget to put your coins in there. And look how much it's distorted. I've got too much in there. Let's take it all out. There's way too much. It's the car key. All right, guys, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share and do all the wonderful things that you guys pretty much already do for me. Very special thank you to the lovely Karen for her colour choice or colour combination. Now, if you wanted to be a part of Live Antics, we do that every Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time, and you get to choose a colour combination of whatever I lay out on the table on that morning. Once again, thank you, Karen, for your colour combination. I look forward to seeing everyone on our lives, and all I want to say right now is, look at our gorgeous Kiss Lock purse. Ciao for now.